Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Annisya, Agustin, Cika, Wijaya. In this opportunity, I want to present my presentation about formulation of hypothesis. Let's begin. First, what is hypothesis? A hypothesis states your prediction about what your research will find. It is a tentative answer to your research question that has not yet been tested. For some research projects, you might have to write several hypotheses that address different aspects of your research question. And the other definition of a hypothesis is a hypothesis is not just a guess. It should be based on existing theories and knowledge. It also has to be testable, which means you can support or refute it through scientific research method, such as experiment, observation, and statistical analysis of data. And then, hypothesis has two variables. First, an independent. An independent variable is something the researcher changes or controls. And second, dependent variables. A dependent variable is something the researcher observes and measures. In this example, the independent variable is apple consumption, the assumed case, and then the dependent variable is the frequency of doctor's visits, the assumed effect. And then, developing a hypothesis. First, ask a question. Writing a hypothesis begins with a research question that you want to answer. The question should be focused, specific, and researchable within the constraints of your project. Second, do some preliminary research. Your initial answer to the question should be based on what is already known about the topic. Look for theories and previous studies to help you form educated assumptions about what your research will find. Third, formulate your hypothesis. Now you should have some idea of what you expect to find. Write your initial answer to the question in a clear, concise sentence. And fourth, refine your hypothesis. You need to make sure your hypothesis is specific and testable. There are various ways of phrasing a hypothesis, but all the terms you use should have clear definition and the hypothesis should contain. Fifth, phrase your hypothesis in three ways. To identify the variables, you can write a simple prediction in if-then form. The first part of the sentence states the independent variable and the second part states the dependent variable. And then the last, write a null hypothesis. If your research involves statistical hypothesis testing, you will also have to write a null hypothesis. The null hypothesis is the default position that there is no association between the variables. And then the hypothesis example. And then the hypothesis example. Research question: what are the health benefits of eating? And hypothesis: increasing apple consumption in over 60 seconds will result in decreasing frequency of doctor's visits. And a null hypothesis: increasing apple consumption in over 60 seconds will have no effect on frequency of doctor's visit. And the second example, which airlines have the most delays? Hypothesis: low-cost airlines are more likely to have delays than premium airlines. And null hypothesis: low-cost and premium airlines are equally likely to have delays. And then the last example, can flexible work arrangements improve job satisfaction? hypothesis, employees who have flexible working hours will report greater job satisfaction than employees who work fixed hours. And the null hypothesis, there is no relationship between working hour flexibility and job satisfaction. And then the characteristic of well-formulated research hypothesis. There are three characteristics. First is testable and verifiable. A research hypothesis has to be checked for possible approval or rejection. This analysis is done statistically and therefore it should be such that can be tested and analyzed. After analysis, the result can be obtained. Some hypotheses cannot be tested because they are too subjective and they are not suitable for research. And the second is simple and clear. The wording of the hypothesis should have to be simple and clear. Any complex ideas and wordings should be avoided. A simple hypothesis will make it easier for you to carry on through the research and will be easy to read and understand. And the last characteristic is relevant. The hypothesis should have to be relevant to the study that you are about to conduct. An irrelevant hypothesis will lead to an invalid research. A hypothesis is the possible answer to your research question. If your presumption or your presumed answer is wrong and irrelevant, your method to find its accuracy will not result in any relevant conclusions. Okay, I think that's all about my presentation. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.